Dialogue is an art form like Zen, like jazz, is a good example, where you can't predict it, you dare not, because you can't control it. Because open sacred space, opening space, and my college, for example, was founded by the Quakers. And Quakers were onto this in Quaker meeting, when they said, throw out all of the ideology, throw out all the icons, strip the walls down, people come together, there's no priest mediating between you and God, there's that of God in every person. Let's get together in a sacred space, sit in the silence, and allow the voice of silence to speak. That's the Quaker way. That's where I've been teaching at Haverford College for the last 40 years. That's an example of an art form of deep dialogue. So really what you want to do is to open that sacred space. Very difficult. There was a crisis at Haverford College too, because when I arrived there 40 years ago, it was a small, all-male, white college, 400 students. And they had, 15 African-American students they were trying to bring into the culture in the post-bac program. But these young people were feeling alienated on the campus, despite its Quaker heritage. And you know, the Quakers were innovators and pioneers in the underground movement into Philadelphia, for example. So they were known for being not racist, the opposite. And yet, in Haverford College, in its all-whiteness and not having diversity, it never learned the skills of dealing with diversity. So when diversity erupted on campus and security guards were carding the black students and all kinds of things were happening, feeling alienated, they took over the administration building, the president's office, in 1973. I was there in 68. And everything shut down. ABC News is at the campus. It's alarming because a Quaker college, it looks like racism. What's going on? And people didn't know what to do with it. And the only one they would talk to at that point was me. I happen to be a faculty of color. We all have color. But I was a faculty of color, but mainly because they felt I was sensitive to crossing worlds, and they felt maybe Gangadean could help articulate what they were feeling, alienated in this Quaker community. And that started the whole revolution of diversity at Haverford, which was hitting the entire world, all of America. Each campus was going through this in its own version. But I'm mentioning that because despite the Quakers' great intention and high spirituality, they hadn't developed the ways of coping with diversity. So there are specific challenges in dealing with real diversity. Without realizing, because we're not schooled and educated, most of us, in realizing that we all have a lens. And the lens of the mind is what our culture shapes. And I can have multiple lenses. I could be a civic American where, say, I'm raised in the Judeo-Christian view. I'm a Jew, let us say, and I believe in the Bible and I practice that. That's one lens. That's one me. But I'm also a physicist and I believe in science and I'm practicing the Big Bang. And I know that that's true. That's a different me, different lens. I'm a civic American. I believe in civic democracy and keeping your religion out of the civic. That's still a different lens, you know. And of course I'm in therapy and I'm seeing my therapist to cope with these different worlds. And she's Jungian, and she's teaching me I have a male and a female side that I need to integrate. And I'm now really going crazy for my therapist, you know. And I'm practicing yoga and I'm chanting. Those are all worlds, and there's different me's. And we don't have the skills of knowing, well, how do I put these different selves together? So it's almost a normal schizophrenia. Right, so this is rampant in the culture. We're not educated to become aware of our lens. So if I'm a Christian and I'm trying to interpret yoga and Hindu philosophy, and I'm interpreting from my lens, and I know Jesus is the truth, and I'm a fundamentalist, and I will interpret them through my lens, I'm violating their world. I'm violating their otherness. And the ethos of diversity and otherness requires that you open to respect the other as other. That means I've got to somehow step back from privileging my lens as the only way. And we humans have rational capacities. That's what rationality is. It's a capacity to always step back somewhat from your lens, not see only the world that way, but to open up other possibilities. Right? That's critical thinking. That's the essence of being a human, a rational being. So that's really what it is. We have to realize that when we impose our lens on the other, we violate their otherness, whatever it may be. If I'm a male and I have a male outlook and my spouse is a woman with a different, and I'm imposing my view on her, I'm violating her otherness as a woman, for example. So it's worldviews, it's human relations, it's personal, and it's the most fundamental skill in being human. Check out your lens, be aware of it, and in your interaction with other people, respect their otherness. And that's ethics. That's the heart of ethics. That's what Jesus is all about. When I was in prison, you visited me. When I was hungry, you fed me. Otherness. Love the other as yourself. And that's all Buddhist ethics too. Compassion. Have compassion for the other. So the ethos of otherness, respecting it, is the heart of dialogue. So dialogue is not a sideshow. Deep dialogue is the essence of rationality. As if we're rational beings, if the essence of a human is a rational being, and we don't know how to dialogue, then we're wanting in the essence of being a human. Real diversity is not just a scattered splintering of separate units, but held together in a space of common ground. And that therefore we need to really have a creative diversity where there can be conversation. And I think there's something in the air now. 30, 40 years later, as we enter the 21st century, we know we're in a global village. And I feel a difference now in the culture. There is a readiness. It all traces to ego-mentalism. That's the term I use. Ego-mentalism is the dominance of the ego level of thinking and living and forming our world. And global wisdom has been teaching us that we've got to recognize that we're in the ego space and using that mind operating system, and that we have a choice to rehabilitate our mental patterns in the ways of deep dialogue. When we move into deep dialogue, we can reach the common ground across the broken worlds.